And okay, now we're live. Let me just organize some things here. And like we already have a whole bunch of comments to address. And we barely even started. Now we're live. Let me just dude, are you watching my stream while we're doing this?
Yes, I am a true fan, and I will watch even if I am a participant.
Thank you. But yeah, welcome to the stream of Takami, Muvelea, Afisha, and Kodokunasu, apparently. Okay, so I'll address the comments later, but for now, let me once again introduce the topic and elaborate too. I went over the basics with you guys, but now I will elaborate so you can provide more. Oh, hello, son. More of a your detailed opinions. Okay. Cool, everyone.
Yes, that's cool. That's cool.
Anyway, so essentially, hello Generico, hello Luna and D Roger, welcome you all to the stream, and uh, essentially, it has a lot of you guys already figured out. We have a lot of stories that tackle the topic of escapism, essentially saying, "Oh, escapism bad," like you can't like just run away from the real world, you need to live in it, and so like this unhealthy form of escapism is bad, right? A lot of stories focus on that message, but one person brought up a very good counterpoint to this that I thought was really interesting. Okay, but can you blame people for using that more unhealthy form of escapism given the times that we're living today? Like, we're going through several like problems nowadays. House prices keep increasing. Well, the prices of everything keeps increasing. We have a lot of political turmoil. Like, there's a general lack of hope like in people nowadays. There's an unemployment crisis, a bunch of bad things
well,
going on in the world,
well,
right?
in short, our world is decaying.
Yes, exactly.
So-
Anyway,
Mm.
things are depressing right now, and so can you really blame like people for wanting to escape, even if it is admittedly unhealthy? And so, what this person was saying is not exactly that, oh, so escapism good. No, escapism is still bad, especially if done in this more unhealthy way. But you need to address the root cause of the issue before you address the symptoms, before you address this more easy thing that most people can agree with. How about you make reality a bit better, and then we'll have to escape less, you know? So, and I thought that was a really good point. So, I wanted to see what you guys think about it. Like, what could media specifically do in order to better address the topic in all of its complexity?
Hmm.
Let's make this more organized and go one at a time. In Ludity first.
Oh, cool. I get to go first. Um, I think as far as like people wanting to like escape reality or or whatever, however you want to phrase it, I should say. I think it comes from a place of regret mostly.
Mm,
It's like the common question or like the would you rather type question of like if you could go back and do things over, would you?
mm,
And it's like I don't really know anybody that would say no to that.
mm,
It seems like an obvious answer to say yes to. And I think that again that comes from a place of like, oh, if I could go back to this one scenario with what I know now and do it over, like that, obviously I would probably pick the better option. And then that also stokes, I think, a sense of curiosity. So I think that's primarily why people would want to escape reality like that. It's that power fantasy of, oh, I could be doing these things again better, that sort of thing.
I think that's really interesting, mostly because, as I was talking about, I think people who were in the Doki Doki stream can kind of confirm. Uh, that's actually not a fantasy of mine because I'm so self deprecating that I think, no, even if I had another chance, I would just do all the same shit all over again. Like, I don't trust myself at all. So that's not one of my fantasies. But I do understand your point. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, so let the other guys talk.
Okay, Regios then.
Huh. Me next. This is just a rather complicated question. But why would I? Why? Mostly, well, in particular, my own personal reason to escape from reality is because, well, my human relationships over the course of my entire life have been a living hell.
Mm,
There is no ifs or buts about it. I have had to deal with bullying not just through school, but also through high school, through basically every single term until I reached college. And not just that, I also had, until recently, a very shaky relationship with my parents.
Hmm.
We are working to repair it now, but until very recently it was not the best because I my my parents kept feeling disappointed because of my choices in life, and I resented because I felt that they were holding me back
Hmm.
whenever I decided to do something that they didn't consider adequate for me. So I will say that my reason to escape into fantasy is to imagine a better human relationships, something that doesn't contain the vitriol, the self-interest, all the polarization that human relationships in the current world, in our current era, have. Mm. We live in a very polarized world, and also one that tells us that we must only believe in ourselves. Hmm. And I think that is part of the problem.
Hmm. Can you elaborate on that last point a bit?
Elaboration. Okay. Please forgive me if I sound vague at any point, because I am not very good at this.
Look, you don't need to share anything you're uncomfortable with, okay? Don't feel pressure to
Okay.
do so.
Okay. They are telling me that my microphone is
A bit quiet. I don't
a
think
bit quiet.
so,
How
but
about now, Sam?
mm. Personally, I didn't think it was quiet, but yeah, it's certainly louder now and not to an unpleasant degree.
Unpleasant. Okay, let's see.
No, I said not to an unpleasant degree.
Okay, not to an unpleasant degree. Okay, fair enough. So, elaboration on the whole state of human relationships in our world right now. How to say it?
Mhm.
We basically mm, it's it's difficult to explain. Basically, we are being pit against each other. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
parents against children, brother against brother. It's all it's basically a dog eat dog world.
Mm.
And if while and I think that not enough is being done to solve the problems we are facing, the problem of bullying, the problem of shaky relationship between parents and sons or daughters, also, and young people feel very they feel alone, they feel abandoned, not just by their families but also by people that they by people they put their trust into. Hmm?
Mm.
their their classmates, their teachers. They the human contact they get is often very very stressful, very negative, and I believe that these these things, as time goes by, end up making them like encase that no, not encase. Yeah, to shut themselves away, basically,
Mm.
and seek more ideal relationships in the realm of fiction
Mm.
instead of trying to improve the ones that they have now. Because
If
why bother? They don't see the point. And I think we should work to solve that. Try make our make the younger generations understand that trying to fix their relationships with their families is worth the time. Oh, and also try to make the parents understand that the world we live in now is not the same as the world they used to live when they were young. Things have changed a lot, and what worked, the solutions that worked for them do not necessarily work for the current generation.
Mm.
Not sure how to explain this. It's a very personal thing that I am still discovering about myself. I am, after all, I am taking baby steps to fix my relationship with my parents and my family. So
Mm.
I don't really get it entirely, but I know the basic gist of it.
Yeah. You brought up something very interesting, which is because we can't change the world, at least not individually. But yeah, we can change like ourselves. We can make things better, at least on a more limited on the things that are on our more limited control, right? And how do I put this? It's very interesting to see that yeah, there are these elements, these external elements, but a lot of times escapism can come from our own personal reasons. It's not necessarily because of something that's happening with the world. Like the world could be fine and people could still seek
Mm.
escapism simply because their lives are not fine, you know. So that was very interesting of you to add there.
Hmm. Thank you.
But for now, finally, please, Kodokunasu, like
Mm.
say your piece. Essentially, give your thoughts on the
Okay.
matter.
Okay, first I want to ask if am I too loud or too silent?
You should.
Mm,
Mm,
Okay, good. For
in my
I
opinion, you are fine.
yeah,
okay. If something will be bad with my audio, then tell me.
okay.
Um, j- okay, and I okay. Now, uh, the first thing is that I assume we don't speak only about anime, manga, escapism, media, but generally every form of escaping, right?
No, we're just talking about escapism in media because
In
we're
media.
limiting. Yeah, because we're limiting the focus here. Because yeah, we could talk about things
Mhm.
like alcoholism, like we were talking about earlier, but it's
Okay,
best
okay.
to
But
focus on just media.
because I get, I mean just because my point on uh, I know we speak only about media, but my point is can be generally expanded into all kinds of escapism, regardless if they are media or not, or harmful or not.
Mm.
Uh, because generally escapism can be can as escapism can be considered every activity which is not uh, uh, useful in parentheses for pragmatic life purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, and if we mm, and if we think about that, the escapism then is I don't see anything inherently wrong with escapism since every kind of entertainment can be considered as such, and if then and then if I don't see anything wrong
With
this
escapism.
with escapism. It is just for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have problem with term escapism because it is very often, if not mainly, used in negative contexts.
Mm-hmm.
Like people perform escapism instead of dealing with their problems in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is for me just an emotional word, which don't bring uh,
Much to the conversation.
much to the conversation in terms of if something is harmful or not, or problematic or not, because um, sometimes even people who just perform some kind of escape, some act, even when people watch anime or read manga, they don't do this particularly to escape from our world. They do this just because this is fun. They don't necessarily want or need to escape from anything. Mm, it's like sometimes there are some kind of pseudo psychological uh, texts like uh, you are escaping from this problem or something like that. And generally for me, escapism in media is generally just an entertainment form, regardless if something do this to escape his real life problems. Well, if someone constantly perform escapism or in terms of any kind of activity instead of dealing with problems in his or her life, then and just
Then and only
perform,
then is a problem. Is that it?
then this is a problem, but not because he perform escapism, but because don't solve his problems.
Yes, but what we're talking about specifically is that unhealthy form of escapism. It's not just, oh, I played the video game, I read the manga. No, it's you using it as a way to escape and not deal with your problems. It's essentially it taken to an unhealthy degree. It's not just escapism that's being tackled, it's that more unhealthy form of escapism, you know? But yeah, since one sec. To conclude then, I think it's a very difficult matter because from what I'm getting from you guys, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm understanding, you're saying that like yeah, this is a good like point, but there's more to it than even that. Like there are other reasons other than the world being like screwed up that people use to escape. There are like things that media cannot do to change much in that regard. So in general, while it is an interesting criticism, there isn't much more that media can do. Like it can only tell you to like not go to that unhealthy degree to try to help you not reach that point, and to encourage you to improve things as much as you personally can. Do you have any like disagreements with that conclusion, or can we move to the next topic?
I think you got it.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's a spot on.
Okay.
For me, it's okay. Who I am a little bit skeptical if watching any anime or manga would change your mind to solve anything in your life. For me, it is just an entertainment form, and well, if there are some studies which tell something about the topic, then I could change my mind. But well,
It's not one thing. It's not a thing that's how do I say this? It's not a thing that is there is objective. It's something that varies from person to person. For example, there are people like my dad. My dad, when he watched One Punch Man, he was encouraged to start exercising. He actually achieved the like 100 push-ups, 100, that whole routine. Like he was actually influenced and improved his life. Me, I just watched that and I was like, neat. And then I went on to the next anime. So it's a thing that is very subjective how much media affects us. It depends more on the person than really the media. You know?
Hmm.
I was going to add to
Yeah.
that too. It's like
I
I think
think
people can learn like
Hmm.
valuable morals and teachings from the media they consume, same as they can learn negative aspects of that same thing.
Hmm.
I think people in life get access to different toys and tools they can use for different purposes.
Hmm.
And the matter is more about how people are taught to use them, and if they are uh, developed good manners and balance in terms of using different kinds of entertainment.
Hmm.
Mm, because if you give some toy to the child and this and you, for example, if you won't teach the child that if you will use it in wrong way, then you can harm yourself or or other kids, then there is a risk that that they will
Take the
that
wrong
something
message.
bad will happen. Mm, but so if but people generally are told that, for example, um, unaliving other beings in reality is bad, but in games it's okay. So they want, because they have authority in their real life, which teaches them that unaliving is bad. Then they wouldn't project that in games it is okay to a real world.
Mhm. No, but what we're talking about is not necessarily things altering your perception, like or giving you lessons or influencing you in unintended ways. Like it's more of an intentional thing. Like you know how certain kinds of stories, like fables, have morals for children. Those stories are purposefully trying to like say something and make a point and teach people about the real world. That's what we're talking about. It's not the whole thing of fiction affecting reality, like in that type of way. You know, that's what we mean.
Mm. I have a problem. I agree that some stories are created with morals, but uh, but in both cases, when someone consider if some good values or bad values uh, can be um, can
Gleaned.
be can yes by some kind of stories. I have a problem with this because
Hmm.
I have seen many because in stories, especially for kids stories, there are a lot of morals, but often they are in the end they are trivialized, and people adult people just just forgot about those values regardless.
So what you're saying is that even stories that try to teach you more, try to like add something to you, it may not work because media doesn't have that much influence. It depends really on the
Yes,
person.
for example, look at do you know Mumins?
Uh, what?
Moomin, such this is cartoon about some kind of creatures for kids.
No, I don't
And
know about that.
ah, okay, so I won't bring this example because I assume that this is more widely known, so I won't bring it up. But generally, I saw many examples of stories, many popular stories that bring some values, and I saw many examples in real life that people don't
Internalize those
mm, don't
values.
don't internalize those values. For example, in terms of don't judging other people or other things just because
They're different from
they
you.
different or they they are perceived in negative light from some reason.
Okay. But with that, can we move on to the next topic, or do you still have something to add?
I'm good.
We can go further.
Okay. So let me just get caught up with comments, and then we will like move on to the next topic, which will be a more fun topic. Okay, Mouvele says, I mean, that's easy. The real world is designed to make lots of people suffer. So escaping to a place not like that only makes sense to beings who don't want to suffer. Now, an isekai that could be being about being overworked as a rule under capitalism, or not having your passion and talents rewarded on Earth. Uh, I think it's more of a thing. Whenever we talk about the evils of capitalism, I think one poignant thing that someone like talked about is that it's not evil by like the classic definition. It's not evil because oh I'm an evil bad guy that wants to people to suffer. It's more evil by uh, uncaring. By not giving a crap. Like it doesn't matter that people are suffering, like as long as it makes me money. It doesn't matter if people are comfortable if it makes me money. Like it doesn't matter. If capitalism essentially just focus on the money. Like if generating money will make the world a better place or a worse place, it doesn't matter. And so it's just it's not to again I need to keep repeating that so people don't misunderstand me. It's not about being a capitalist shill. It's not about just saying, "Oh no, please understand that." No, it's just understanding what the problem actually is in order to criticize more effectively. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's real fucking easy. Real life tends to suck. Okay, that's that's a good point there. Don't think anyone would disagree on that. True. Okay. I don't see what's really wrong with escapism. Oh, sorry. Do you want to add something?
No, no, no. It's just agreeing with what you're saying.
Okay, okay. I don't really see what's wrong with escapism. We already tackled this. It's not just escapism. It's like unhealthy escapism. Yeah, like in any media, entertainment value is priority for people. Yeah. Creators have this like idea that their media can be used for a higher purpose, and sometimes it can. But let's be real. For the most part, people like Regius, like Kodokunasu was saying, they don't really take much of media if they don't already have that themselves. So it's mostly just entertainment, and these people need to chill and realize that they're there to make things fun, not necessarily to change the world, etc. Oh, so basically, like how isekais nowadays generally kill the MC, which wish, which shows that its creators and fans have no, it's not that. This not to reflect these kinds of tendencies, generico Jerônimo. It's just a good kind of narrative element to like not leave any like things behind, because in ReZero, for example, the protagonist is put in another world, but he actually disappears from our world. So that's tackled in there. Like his parents are like looking for him and like they're desperate. Like it's a whole thing. And so most isekais just do this so they don't have to worry about the real world anymore. Oh, I'm dead there. Like my parents, my friends have closure, and I can just experience this other world without feeling much guilty. You know, that's why this like thing is used. But without further with that out of the way, let's tackle this. So you know what weeaboo speak is, right?
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah.
What?
Weeaboo speak. Essentially, like, oh, I'm so kawaii this, that kind of thing.
Ah, okay, Weeble, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So, did you know that it's technically not wrong? Like, I was, to elaborate, I was in a language class recently on university, and the professor said that no, if you are using a more twisted, a more unconventional form of the language, but that you can communicate with people from your community with it, then it's just a variation of the language. It's not using the language wrong. So, for example, a lot of people in my country, they don't say Jesus, they say Jesus because it's easier for them to like pronounce that. They are generally people who aren't how do I say this? Who don't have a lot of buying power, and they don't have much access to education and stuff like that. And so they try to make words easier for their day to day life stuff. You know, and so in that sense, actually, weeaboo speak then is just another like valid form of English. Because if I even if I say something cancerous like uh let's go my nakama, we need to like defeat the Mao,
Yes, we
ikuzo.
know what you are speaking about.
What?
Sumimasen. Nani the fuck?
Exactly. So you get the point. Like if we can use that language, if we can speak like that and understand each other, then technically it is like just another valid form of English according to at least the logic used by my linguistics teacher. So that was just a funny thing I realized.
That is a very peculiar point of view, and I'm not sure how I feel about it now that I have discovered it. It's since I am also a language teacher. I teach English at a private academy. Um, until recently, I considered whip speech really cringe.
It is cringe, like objectively
It
so.
is,
That's not the
it is,
point.
yeah. Well, what I mean is that on top of that, I used to consider it invalid because,
Hmm.
well, it, to me it felt,
Like a bit much, something
yes,
like that.
a bit much, and it could often become difficult to understand, especially for people who are not who are who are not in the know of
Yes, but
that
that's
particular form of. But now that I am thinking of it, and now that that this viewpoint has been presented, it could be argued that it is a type of slang.
hmm exactly.
Hmm. So, with that in mind, I guess that I was not entirely in the right about, you know about
Mhm.
about how I viewed it.
Mm.
I should It's a valid form of a speech, just a very specialized one,
Mhm.
and it has its place in the world.
Mhm.
Hmm. The more you know.
Okay, so do any of you two have anything else to add?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's go to a more unfortunately serious topic. Like, I was tackling this on another stream, but I feel like it bears like mentioning here as well. Like, it was even with someone who's here, like Generico Geronimo. Like, we were talking about, for example, romance in anime, right? It used to be a genre that was more specialized for girls. That's why when you think shoujo, you think more of romance anime. Just like when you think shonen, you think more like the battle shonen stuff, right? And so
Yeah,
romance.
more action.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, more action.
Yes, yes. And
Hmm.
so romance anime in general was perceived as something exclusive for girls. Same thing
Hmm.
with something like magical girl anime. Magical girl and like romance anime used to be the girl genres, right? But
Hmm.
recently, magical girl anime has pretty much only been made with guys in mind. Most magical girl anime nowadays is not only appeals to guys more has an accident, like for example something like Sailor Moon did, but it's purposefully trying to appeal to a more male audience. Same thing with
Hmm.
romance. Like it's much more balanced now in the sense that we have more male-oriented and more female-oriented romance instead of simply it being a thing for girls. And why did this happen? It's because like with time, like boys began more and more to like get into these girl anime, like even anime that were specialized, that were intended to appeal more to girls, the more magical girl anime began to have a more male centric audience, despite their efforts. Same thing with romance
Yeah.
anime. Like the audience for romance anime start to be a lot more divided, a lot more equal in terms of like gender distribution. And so, as a result, as a kind of reaction to that, we have the industry we have today, where we have both romance anime for boys and romance anime for girls, and where, given that they're like majority, like most magical girl anime these days is designed with men in mind. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's more or less like the justification for why that happened. Are we okay there, or do you have anything you would like to contest?
Mm,
I think I get the gist of it.
Wasn't going to contest anything, but I did get around to watching Madoka based off your recommendation.
Hmm,
Loved it.
nice. Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, but the point is that this leads us to a more uncomfortable question because from now up until now we've been talking about genres that were more for girls that were kind of taken over by guys, right? But what if this occurs like the other way around? Because we've seen that happening more and more, like Generico Jerônimo was talking about, where we see more and more of the shonen scene being taken over by women. Like more women are watching and creating shonen, like battle shonen anime, like even more than guys. Like there are some For years now, the on the writer side, most it's been a well-known fact that most shonen writers are women. But even the audience side now, something like Tokyo Revengers, for example, the movie especially, 80% of the people who watched that fucking thing were women, despite it being technically a shonen anime, right? A shonen battle series. Should battle shonen the same way that magical girl and romance anime did due to that change in demographic now start to appeal more to women? Because that's already been happening. You don't see that in more mainstream stuff, like for example, solo leveling and stuff like that. Put in something like Blue Lock or uh, like what's the name of that other one? Yeah, Tokyo Revengers itself. We've been and in another anime that he mentioned, but that I'm not remembering right now. We've been seeing a lot more like yaoi baiting or like more male fan service when they kind of take off their shirts and they're like these very handsome boys with like six packs and stuff like that. Well, the female fan service has been kind of diminishing, especially in less classical series like Bleach or One Piece, where the stuff still mostly works as normal. But given this change in demographics in general, even if like some particular series have retained a majority of a male audience, should shonen, like ironically, given that the name is literally of the genre is literally for boys, start appealing more to girls now, start to actually go that direction? What do you guys think? This time I'll let you guys speak and then I'll give my opinion.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, so let me organize this again. This time in the inverse order. Kodokunasu.
Mm, mm,
If you don't have anything to add, you don't need to force yourself. I can just go to the next person.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Regius, do you have anything to add to that?
hmm. It's it's a very peculiar
Situation.
situation. Yes, that's the word. How it's not it's not an inherently bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the it's not an inherently bad thing, but trying to cater to
Woman.
yes, trying to cater to a demographic outside of the intended one could lead to unfortunate consequences.
But that demographic is already there, and we're not talking about series like One Piece. We're not talking about, for example, One Piece cater more to women? Because no, those more classic series are still much more
Oh,
popular with
okay, okay,
boys
okay.
than like with girls. We're talking about there being more shonen series in the future, more newer shonen series now made to cater to the female public that's already there. You know, that's more or less.
Oh, okay. I understood the question differently than I thought of, but it's still a very peculiar. It's still a very peculiar situation, but the circumstances are different.
What
If
do you
it
mean?
is there, what do I mean? If it's there to try and cater to an audience that is already there, like one that is already established and understands the tropes of the genre, then it's not as problematic, because it will not try to
Be
to
terrorists.
change. Yes, it will not try to attract tourists by fundamentally changing what it is.
Hmm.
That's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say. Because the audience that is already there already understands what the work is gonna be about, and will not make, and or at least I hope that it doesn't try to make unreasonable demands.
Hmm.
Like it should be like it should be like this, it should be like that.
Hmm.
I am I am I making myself understood? I'm not sure
No,
if
I,
I
I
am
got
being
it. I
clear
got
about
it. Don't
this.
worry.
Okay, good, good.
What
Yeah,
about you, in
that's
Ludity?
Well, I think I understand what you're trying to ask us here. So stop me if I get too far off the rails.
Hmm.
But I guess to me, it doesn't really matter too much whether they like shift to one side or the other. It's kind of just, you know, maybe they shouldn't, because there's if you go into a genre expecting it to be a certain thing and it's not, and then you throw your hissy fit or whatever have you,
Hmm.
you can just leave it for another genre because there's so many more. And not only that, it's like they shouldn't force the issue one way or the other, I think.
So then, do you agree that maybe like the shift that Magical Girl anime had, for example, because with romance, yeah, they created a whole new type of romance without kind of destroying the other. But with Magical Girl anime, outside of Precure, there isn't really anything designed primarily for girls in that genre. Do you think that was a wrong way to go? Do you think that was wrong of them?
I think it comes down to the person too much. I remember you mentioned Sailor Moon. I remember back when I was like in elementary school, getting home from school, catching the last bit of a Sailor Moon episode before Dragon Ball started on Toonami, and I was still like, hell yeah, it's Sailor Moon time, and then it's Dragon Ball. So I mean, I was kind of flipping between two, I would argue, very different genres.
I see. To me, I don't really see the problem as long as it's a natural change, you know? Because what I think it's the problem and what causes like these ideas to generally fail is that they try to make things artificially appeal to another public. For example, She-Hulk, right? She-Hulk, Hollywood has this really weird idea that I can't understand for the life of me, that if the protagonist of a story is a woman, then that story must be for women. The protagonist of a story is a guy, then it must be for guys. But no, if you actually go and read the comics or the cartoon or watch the cartoons of She-Hulk, you know that it was mostly a cartoon for boys still. But so they tried to unnaturally change an audience to something that it wasn't. The audience was not there. They were trying to kind of make uh, an artificial change for like their own purposes. But with this, I'm talking about a more natural change, like already happened throughout history. And so personally, I don't mind it too much. I understand that classical shonen fans who still like that kind of stuff would probably prefer it stay the way it is. But given the change in demographics, I don't think it's fair to like keep it the same way it is when there are already so many people already in the audience who appreciate other things and who wish to like it would appeal to them more how do I say it, more directly. So personally, I don't see the issue in that particular situation.
Yeah, if you're comparing natural to artificial, I would agree. Yeah, because I mean the artificial, I think, is like any industry where it's stakeholders and people who don't know better get too involved, and they shift things,
Mhm.
and then it all goes to crap, I think.
It definitely does. But yeah, with that out of the way, I'm going to go to the next topic. And since there aren't too many comments, I'll address them after said topic. And it kind
Very
of
good.
has to do with what we've been talking about. And it's about the trope of the average guy, right? Because this is a trope that's very scrutinized, it's very criticized nowadays. Like, oh no, there are countless videos out there. Oh no, the average guy trope is so bad. Like, the girls deserve better, we deserve better protagonists, etc. Like, it's if you don't know what the average guy is, the trope is essentially the trope in romance where an average or like even subpar looking or like a guy that's not necessarily too attractive, like he gets with super hottie, right? That's the trope I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Are you all familiar?
Hmm,
Maybe not with the exact example, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I don't have any. But well, I might have one particular example. Axel World. Yeah, the protagonist is. I will either to say that he is a little bit subpar in looks,
Mm-hmm.
but he gets Kuroyuki Hime, who is an absolute hottie of a girl.
Mm-hmm. And you brought up a
Uh,
great example there because it goes into what I'm trying to talk about and what frustrates me so much about those criticisms. But before that, Kodokunasu, do you have anything to add to this?
About normal guy trope.
Yeah.
Mm, um, for now, not. For now, not.
Okay. So the issue I particularly have with that criticism is that like average guys are not average anymore. You know that's what drives me up a wall. Like I if it's a more like for example, a more actually average guy like those uh cardboard cutout protagonists from like Isekai 243, right? Like if it's that, I understand the criticism, but it's never that. And that's the problem because normal guys aren't normal anymore. Because you see Robert from the game Dispatch is supposedly a average guy. How? Do this like talented, do this smart, do this like determined. He has great like people skills. He can is that kind of person that multiple times through the story he can understand and help and give these speeches that motivate people. Like he is very good looking. He is like quite well built. He isn't like a normal person. He is very actually like toned and handsome individual. Like he is by all accounts like a handsome guy. Okay, but no, he's average.
and,
Fuck that.
and let's not forget
Hmm.
he has a mech suit.
That's what gets all the girls right there.
Exactly, because chicks dig giant robots.
Yeah, perfect. But but that's my point. Guys like Robert, guys like uh Gojo from My Dress Up Darling, guys like what's the name of that other person I was talking about? Uh like anyway, guys from a lot of romances nowadays, uh they're not really average guys. Like Gojo is not an average guy. Like he's this loner kind of person, Sure, but look, dude's tall, dude is like handsome, dude has like a really well toned body, dude is caring, passionate, he's not perverted, he is like a genuinely responsible person. Gojo is the type of is the type of protagonist that I really hate being called the average guy. Because if that's an average guy, if that's the guy that doesn't deserve Marin, right? Marin Kitagawa, then no one deserves Marin. Like, dude is literally the perfect man. But no, average guy. Fuck you. And that's what like frustrates me about that criticism. Because again, with more like genuinely generic protagonists. I can understand that, but that criticism falls flat when we consider more unique protagonists, like the one from Nagatoro or Exo World, which, despite not being the best looking, like they are genuinely like their own people. They aren't generic protagonists. They have their own stories. They have their own personalities, their talents and the things they do throughout the story, their improvements. They are genuine characters. So like you finding that boring, it's all new. Like you can have whatever opinion you want, but fundamentally, objectively, they're not generic like paper thin characters. And when you get to people like Gojo or Robert, that criticism falls even more apart because now those are like legitimate characters that are actually handsome. And so it genuinely frustrates me that all these guys are grouped into this like tiny. Oh, Subaru. Subaru is also a great example. Like, dude is like charismatic, dude is like strong, he's tall, he is determined, but no, he's an average guy. Fuck you. Like, I couldn't do half the shit. I couldn't do 10% of the shit that Subaru does. If that's an average guy, I'm fucked. you know? And that's what frustrates me. Like, because on the surface, I agree with that criticism, but when I go and see what people actually consider a quote unquote average guy, no, fuck off. Like, average guys aren't average guys anymore, and your criticism sucks. So yeah, those are my frustrations with the whole criticism with the trope, and I want to see what you guys like think about this.
Mm, just as you told, the normal guy is not really normal guy. It is some most of the time average male MC is completely artificial and idealized. Mm, he is not normal. He mm, have often have too idealistic views. Mm, something like that.
No, my point is that again, the average guy is not the average guy anymore. The criticism itself doesn't work because those guys uh, fundamentally aren't average. They aren't boring. They are like their own established characters who are legitimately handsome and attractive. And so it's frustrating to see those guys especially referred to as average, because like it shows that the people who are making that criticism, like I don't want to turn this too serious, so I'm not going to necessarily accuse them of that, but it feels like they have and this is going to sound so funny, unrealistic expectations of men. Like the average guy to them, like is so far ahead of what the average guy actually is, that like it seems like for a character to quote unquote deserve the waifus, the love interests in these shows, they have to be like literally Superman, and that's just ridiculous to me. That is my criticism.
Hmm. Yes, I think I get what you mean. Hmm. and I can see why it will incense you so much.
Hmm.
Because, as you have said, the average guy is in most stories about a quote unquote average guy getting himself into all sorts of shenanigans is anything but.
Hmm.
Hmm. I can see why that will frustrate you.
Hmm.
In back when back when I was a teenager, the average guy used to be actually average. Like, for example,
Hmm.
back in Love Hina, Keitaro
Yeah,
Keitaro
definition of average right there.
is the definition of average. Yeah, he 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 gets all sorts of injuries. He's sent flying at least once an episode by the girls because of some accidental perverted tendencies. Oh, another one. What was his name? Ah, yeah. eh, the protagonist from World of Narue, Kazue, I think his name was. He's also the most average guy ever, and he gets himself an alien girlfriend and all the trouble that comes with it.
Hmm.
More often than not, he cannot solve he cannot deal with the stuff that he gets himself into. He needs the help
Of the girls,
of
yes.
everyone. Yes, of the girls.
Hmm.
So basically, it seems like the average guy over the course of the years has been taking levels in badass.
Hmm.
He has been gradually becoming more and more capable, more and more skillful. Basically, what started as average has become much less average.
Yes, and that's my point because, like, when you actually go away from protagonists like that, one sec.
Hmm,
When you
take
actually
your
go
time.
away from protagonists like that who are actually average, and you start to make these quote unquote average guys actually like uh like extraordinary protagonists, then the criticism doesn't apply anymore. And so I really just don't I don't agree with it anymore. I don't think that it applies at least to some of the people, some of the characters that they're generally applied to. Like that is more or less my point.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you there. Right now, that criticism, it might have been valid decades ago,
Hmm.
but right now, with the current slew of anime or even Western cartoon protagonists that we are getting, that criticism is a load of bullshit.
Hmm.
And honestly, I have nothing more to add other than I 100% agree with you.
Okay. Uh, do you have anything to add, Kodokunasu?
Mm, I think I think you already exhausted the topic.
Okay. In Ludity?
I mean, I was just probably defending the trope in my mind as at least the change in the trope, where it's like trying to think of a story based around a average guy, what we would consider average here in the real world, I think would be really, really boring. And so I think it's all relative when like in a piece of media, like the character we're following, like their story says they're an average guy. They have to have some sort of standout quality about them to make them at all interesting, I think. So I think that's where people maybe over exaggerate or go too much into that sort of point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but with that topic mostly done, then what I am going to do is, like I said, I'm going to address the comments, and then we are going to address the next topic.
Sure.
Oh God, that generated like a lot of comments there. Now,
Eh,
now people started to actually like
engage.
engage with it. Yes. Okay. I wouldn't say that in regards to my explanation for the whole why like isekai protagonists are usually killed at the start of the story. I wouldn't say that because the OG isekai generally didn't care about that, but still use more morally correct methods of going to another world, like portals, mirrors, instead of jumping into traffic. And again, that's because in OG isekais, there was this idea that the guy was going to come back to the real world at some point. In the current isekais, the idea is that the guy is going there to just experience a better life than what he has in the real world. And so it's again just a narrative device to kill the guy so that there isn't this like worry. Oh, he needs to come back because he actually has some business on Earth still. No, he doesn't. He's dead, so he can enjoy it without guilt, essentially.
Hmm.
Uh, in regards to the whole like weeaboo speak, I think it's just being cringe for the sake of being cringe and irritating other people. I mean, fair. Okay. Reminds me of those otaku cringe compilations. Then, yeah. Genres today are becoming just a tag instead of being their target audience. I need to research, but I remember a manga publisher was going to erase the whole shonen and shoujo genres and use tags like action, romance, etc. Ronin warriors. They try to appeal to women too much, it will backfire hard for them. They are essentially talking about that topic of shonen that we were going over. Feel like
Hmm.
the male interest in magical girls was very natural. Talking about like the transition from being a genre more to girls and now being more to guys. Like just as I was
Hmm.
talking, basically. And now, in regards to the topic that really created a lot of discussion, which is the whole average guy topic. Basically, like Kirito clones. Thinking there's something wrong or impossible with a relationship just because the guy doesn't look as good as the girl is cucked and nonsensical. That's a good point as well. Like, what do you mean the guy doesn't deserve the girl? Like, does a person need to be just as pretty as the other to quote unquote deserve then? Or do they need to make something super special? They need to be this like super incredible person to deserve like quote unquote beautiful person has like their partner. I don't think so. Like this happens a lot in real life as well. Like I've seen a lot of guys who I consider to be like 7 or 8 out of 10 like dating very ugly girls, and you know what, good for them, they were really happy. And the same thing with the girls too. I've seen like some really pretty girls dating some absolute goblins and they were both happy, so who am I to say anything? So that's a good point too, honestly.
Hmm.
Anyway, A Fisher says, and kind of unfair, like Kyosuke from Oreimo is one of my favorite average protagonists. He's totally average, no special skills or looks, but it's incredibly easy to see why all the girls around him would fall for him. And that's another thing that's neglected. Like, sure, the guy isn't anything special, but what about what happened in the story? What about all the events where the guy like genuinely helped them and did something that brought them closer? What about all the stuff that all the times he was genuinely there for them and helped in a time of need. Does none of this count? I'm not even saying that in a sense of, oh no, if a guy helps a girl, then she owns him sex. Nothing like that. But like you can see why is not necessary. Well, it's not a thing that needs to happen. You can see how it could happen as a result of this. And so I again just really don't understand this point. So yeah, I agree with what the people are saying. Like there is the girl version of the trope in a romance story, and yeah, I've been talking about this. That like there's this whole discussion that oh, why are male protagonists like so like boring and like ugly, while the female protagonists in romance are beautiful. No, like if you see actual female protagonists in romance, you see that there are some standouts, some actually incredibly beautiful ones and ones that are average or even designed to be ugly. And the same thing with male stories. Like this differentiation, this kind of dichotomy that people try to make with the stories is nonsensical. And it really boggles my mind why this criticism isn't applied to the girls, to the stories with average girls that these people refuse to acknowledge. But yeah.
Hmm.
If I was a girl, I would be all over Kyosuke. No fucking cap. Okay, if you say so. You can be attractive through your actions, principles, etc., not just looks or skills. It's not to criticize the same amount as the guy. Yeah, Fisher brings up a good point that I was talking about there. I feel like average has been twisted into meaning undesirable in every way. Yeah, and it's stupid. Like, that is not average. The average person tends to have some virtues and disadvantages. True. So, yeah, a lot of people like yeah, this is a criticism like of the actual average guys, because well there are the average guys that can be executed in a way that makes them not average, and that I would argue the criticism does not apply. There are some that are designed to be worse than average, you know. And so the criticism would actually apply further. But again, my whole point is that people group all these protagonists into this tiny bubble and judge them the same when they're absolutely not the same. Okay. Subaru, I feel like stretches the term average more, especially when you get further into the novels. He has some extremely extraordinary skills in leadership, strategy, etc. I mean, this is a whole problem with all visual art. Only pretty people are allowed to exist. But that's not even the points, like Muvela. Like, I get the criticism you're trying to make, and it's fair. But, like, these people look at these protagonists, and they see that they're not, like... Or even, they may be, but to them, they're not quite enough to quote-unquote deserve the girls. Like, Subaru, again, is a very handsome guy, but he's not handsome enough. He's a very attractive and admirable guy, but he's not admirable enough to deserve Emilia or Ren or stuff like that. That's the criticism. And again, I heavily disagree with. I think I have to say about these characters because they all have a simple black hairstyles, while girls have all sorts of colors and styles. Uh, who's with Away today? Same as the last culture gen? No, we have a whole bunch of people right now. We have Enludity, we have Regios, and Kodokunasu. So we have a lot of people today. But yeah, again, I do see your point, but when girls have like black hairstyles and they like are to quote unquote the level of these guys, they're still considered pretty. So I still think it's like an unfair criticism. I get that staring at the same guy with the same haircut can get boring, but like it doesn't make them ugly or undeserving. But anyway, Muvela, say that to the villains and the comic relief. And again, that is part of the problem. Why aren't like more unattractive people allowed to be characters outside of those like small modes, you know? That's kind of the criticism. They have never really been average to ugly people in TV or anime, not for the most part. Yeah, that's a problem that you don't see. See how many hands it takes to count how many positive depictions of fat people, for example, there are in anime. Again, addressing Generico Geronimo, and I agree. Is that wrong? Like, nah, who wants to see ugly people anyway, lol? That's a dismissal I don't agree with. Because, like, we've seen that like media nowadays has been portraying like people that are more, especially anime has been portraying people who have more diverse body types to good acceptance. You know, there have been anime about like fat girls, for example, like plus size girls, plus size elf specifically as well. In gacha games we've seen more like plump characters too, like etc. And I think that while this desire to see attractive people like is true, and I do understand it, like I don't think it would be a bad thing necessarily for us to start seeing more different types of people in anime and manga. Obviously, if we reach the level that Hollywood is nowadays, where or especially the video games industry, where it's just a whole other extreme and absolutely no pretty people, especially not pretty women, are allowed, and or sexy, especially as well. Like that is a problem, but while we shouldn't force people to put these characters in their stories, I don't think there's anything wrong with, especially if audiences want that, to clamor for them and to think that they deserve to be seen as well. So I don't agree with that dismissal. I think it's better that the general practice is to depict any character that's meant to be celebrated at all as visually appealing. Deliberately making them look ugly would run contrary to that goal. I don't know if I agree, but let's see you develop that argument. That's just contributing to a stigma against anyone not conventionally attractive. And heck, we even have some stories that demonstrate that. Like, I'm going way into the other extreme here, but like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Like, we can have some positive and interesting like depictions of like less attractive people. We can have that represented as like heroic or good, and there's nothing wrong with that. Heck, Haruyuki, for example, from the anime Excel World, he is like we all seen a very fat and very like tiny dude. Doesn't mean he can't be admirable in his own way. So I really don't agree with that. Again, I don't like the standard that we have right now in the games industry where everyone needs to look ugly because it's realistic, because Reddit thinks that people bad. But yeah, I don't think going the other way either and saying no, everyone needs to be attractive is that interesting as well. I think we can have both types of protagonists for various different audiences. Again, if you don't like it, there should be things for you, and if you want that kind of stuff, it should be for you as well. Anyway, is Golden Boy from this gentleman's time? The problem is that while Golden Boy would be a good example here, it's never used as an example in these kinds of discussions, because there are some characters that are kind of grandfathered in. Like, there are some things you're not allowed to criticize. So, for example, Golden Boy. Like, you can levy these criticisms even at people who don't deserve it, like Subaru or like Gojo, as I was talking about. And there will be some people who will be like, okay, let them cook. But if you dare put like a person from the classics, if you dare say like, oh, Golden Boy, like it's kind of the average guy trope, or like Issei is kind of the average guy trope, like you're going to get a lot of pushback. So there are some kind of characters that are put on a pedestal that you can't criticize. So what it would apply to this example here, to the situation I'm discussing, it generally doesn't in practice due to that fact, you know? Say the same for fatness. It will hopefully more clearly sound bad to you. Someone's physical look doesn't have anything to do with their character and reality. No need to force a full alignment in fiction. Especially because the trope of like the dangerous beauty is one that is already established in fiction. So we already have the kind of counterpoint to that. Like in that beauty isn't necessarily like morally good. Like beautiful people aren't necessarily morally good, nor are ugly people necessarily like morally bad. Like again, I think there's space for both types of protagonists, as long as it doesn't devolve into the realm of the other extremism or of how do I say this, forcing people to do things. Anyway, about positive depictions of fat people, you can count more than in both hands in any work that Toriyama worked. So you agree with my point. Anyway, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I did forget Toriyama, but it's far from the norm. Fucking. Uh, God damn it. But it's far from. Yeah. Where were we? Holy shit. You guys commented it so much. I did forget Toriyama, but it's far from the norm, unfortunately. Not talking about the concrete physiological characteristics of a character. I mean, with that intention, those characters are rendered visually. Basically, you can take fat, short, etc. characters and still make them look good the way you draw them. For example, Aizen from Frieren. How do I say this? Like I think, like I understand what you mean, and like I can see your points, but again, with the whole Hunchback of Notre Dame, um, I do think that even characters who are depicted as ugly by the story can still have good characteristics, can still be good morally represented like that, and like there's nothing wrong with it. And like you guys can contribute to the conversation too if you like want. Don't want to another incident where like Enludity gets like doesn't talk for 40 minutes.
Well, if it's not a problem, I would like to join in a bit later because
Mm.
I need to get a pizza ready.
Okay,
my
okay.
my family wants to have dinner, and
No, it's fine, go do
so
that.
yeah, I will be AFK for a little while, but I will return as quickly as possible.
Okay. Do any of you two have anything to add?
No.
Okay, so I'll just continue reading the comments if that's not a problem. Okay. Saying they are ugly is really subjective and perhaps an unfortunate evaluation that I do not necessarily share. Then I don't know what you mean. Like, you have someone with traits that are ugly in reality draw and make them upped on TV to look attractive. Basically, you have someone who looks like Aizen in real life. I think he's a great guy. Would call him a beautiful person. If I really like him. So when I draw him in a cartoon, I would be deliberately make him look good, not bad. I mean, ugly has regarded by social norms. You don't tend to see people with facial deformity as protagonists in live action TV. It's people with pretty faces as far as most people consider. And I'm going to have to take the side of the other people here because there is a reason for that, and is that like people generally go to fiction to escape reality. It's a form of idealization of like entertainment, essentially, power fantasies. And so, while I do agree that that like it would be interesting to encourage more depictions of not traditionally attractive people in more prominent roles or more moral roles. Like I think I can see what the people mean when they say that like they would prefer to see beautiful people. A lot of people are like that. That's exactly why Sun is also arguing that if they do have these generally unattractive traits, even then they should be depicted like as good looking people. And again, in anime that is done quite masterfully. So maybe we can even find some common ground and like make something that can please most people, because obviously nothing can please everyone. Okay. Even though I would not say facial deformities are inherently ugly, but why should attractiveness be towed to personality? So in that case, I would agree that it's a problem for which the visual solution is to produce art which addresses it. But calling it a problem with all visual art is something I can't agree with. Just because a piece of art does not address a specific lack of something that has merit, does not necessarily mean that piece of art is wrong for that. Yeah, fair. I agree with Sun there. I just got here, so I don't know the full context, but I think it's worth mentioning that we're all going to be old and bony one day. No, but 99% of visual art tying goodness to pretty is a broader cultural problem. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, it's not a problem that some. It's the whole thing of sexualization, right? It shouldn't be a problem for like there being sexualized characters or there being like works of fiction with fan service, but the moment like that it's everything, that it's in everything, then it's a problem. So yeah, I can totally, I'm understanding all your points there, and I really think that we can get to some kind of agreement here. That last message was translated wrong from my text to speech thing, but it's funny that way. Okay. Okay. Drawing Eisen in an attractive way is not tying conventional attractiveness to his personality. It's the opposite. Deliberately making him look bad just because he's short, not conventionally attractive, would reinforce that having these features is bad. Yeah, I can see what you mean there. Actually, I start to agree more with Sun now. You don't have to make him look bad. You can make characters just look not conventionally attractive, and that's what Sun is saying. Like, there are a lot of characters that are unconventionally attractive. Like, for example, Brady from Nikkei, or again, the girl from the main elf girl from uh, Plus Size Elf, or uh, like uh, Haruyuki from Exo World. Like, that dude is not like conventionally attracted, that like super handsome kind of dude, but his design is not like horrible either. He isn't designed to instill disgust in you. Like, he's designed to be a character that you think looks good, even if he isn't conventionally attractive. So I'm starting to agree with Sun there that yes, we should depict even non-conventional attractiveness in a more positive way, even visually. We should make unconventionally attractive characters that are still represented in a positive way visually, because that unironically is like valuing those traits, not devaluing them. So yeah, I'm agreeing with Sun there. Whether a person looks attractive or not is almost completely divorced from what actual physical features they have. Don't know what you mean by attractive then. Was my understanding that attraction worked on visual appearance, but I'm so ace that it's got hard for me to grasp. Ace is asexual, as far as I'm aware. Have no idea what being ace is like, but I would honestly have expected that to make it easier for you to understand this. Anyway, I'll try to explain. Attractiveness is extremely heavily influenced by your existing knowledge or feelings about a person. If you hate someone, it doesn't matter what features they have, simply seeing their face provokes a reaction of extreme disgust. Oh, you mean that? Yeah, personality can also be appealing. Likewise, a person that you personally know well or simply admire will appear attractive because of that. That's not really what I'm talking about. There's most certainly is diversity of personalities in anime. Not talking about personality though, I'm talking about a person's visual looks. Is there an effort to remove attractive people entirely from video games? Or are you just listening too much to grifters who get paid to say go woke, go broke? I've seen it. Yeah. Like, you may not agree with it, but yeah, I've noticed that, especially in the video games industry, like, I haven't seen many like genuinely sexualized or genuinely even beautiful characters. Like, you can have whatever politics you want. I'm not here to discuss that, but yes, I at least in my like perception. Like I haven't seen many games nowadays where I would like want to play it just because the characters. Because I've bought a lot of games due to this. Like the Mortal Kombat I played, like Mortal Kombat games in general, I always played them because I saw the female characters and I said, oh, like and a lot of games like Atelier Rise or Nikke and stuff like that, I did start to play them for similar reasons. And I haven't had that like sensation at all in most Western games. Like if it was a thing of, oh, like there are things for other people too. Like I don't mind that. I don't think everything needs to be for me. But I legit seen nothing outside of Asian games where I had that sensation for. And that's a problem because I think, yes, there should be something for everyone. And yes, that everyone includes me. And I do not feel included. I genuinely, when I look at the gaming industry nowadays, I do not feel included in that. So, no, it's not like, oh, the grifters told me. It's like what I observed. It's my opinion. You can disagree with it, but no, I didn't get it from like grifters or whatever. And like I just can I comment on this? I just like that word so much, grifters. Like obviously it's a thing used to say it's a word that's bad. It's used to describe a bad thing, a person who only like is doing something not because they believe in it, but because like they're looking at the money. They try to take advantage of a situation. But the word itself, divorced from the like meaning so cool, like grifters. Like it doesn't feel like nice to say. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo.
It's a pretty harsh word to throw at somebody. It feels nice. It rolls off the tongue well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think we've. If I keep doing this, I'll just be like stuck in comments for a while for things that may not be too important. So I think there's a good skill to start developing now for the future. I'll just read a lot of the comments and address the general sentiment instead of going one by one, so we don't lose much time like we did in the past. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and I have returned.
Okay. 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 But the average guys, I think people would prefer if the girls would be on the same level as the MC, and the anger comes from they attracting the most beautiful girl in class. Okay, this is a good point to bring up. About the average guys, I think people would prefer if the girls were on the same level as the MC, and the anger comes from they are attracting the most beautiful girl in class. And again, this is nonsensical, because at this point it's not a real criticism. It's just you saying me no likey, because there's nothing inherently wrong with that in terms of a story. Like there should be stories where the protagonists are kind of paired like in regards to their attractiveness, to their level of attractiveness, and there should be stories where one is more attractive than the other. There's nothing wrong with either type of story. So if that is the criticism, then it's a very subjective one, and one that absolutely is more of a tasting and not like something objective that hurts a story. Okay. 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 Okay, we're going off the rails here and talking about again real world issues like fat phobia or like discrimination of people because their appearance. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to like put a stop to that discussion. again, as I keep saying, it is an important discussion, but from what I'm seeing, we're going way too far away from media and into like real problems. And again, those are important to discuss. But again, I'm not blaming anyone, Muvalea. I'm talking about the whole thread. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm going to ask people, and that means everyone. That means you, Sun. That means you, Muvalea. That means you, Generico, and you, A Fisher. Like, we need to stop, and we need to go back to silly cartoon stuff. These real world issues need to be discussed in a more serious podcast than like the degenerates like podcast. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's stop, please.
Mm.
So for now, let's talk about yeah, and I think this will be the topic in which we'll end things for now. I think we should start valuing more weak female characters. That's my point. Because, and to like elaborate, we often hear this being repeated over and over again that we need like strong female characters, right? And a lot of people, when you criticize that, they say, "Oh, but there are various types of strengths. There's emotional strength. There's like intellectual strength. Like, we're not saying that every female character should be humiliating the guys or anything like that. You're misunderstanding the point, and I'm not. Like, my point is exactly like, why does every the female characters need to be strong in any way, shape, or form? Heck, why do the male characters need to be like that? Is there no space for genuinely weak characters? For example, like Shinji, or like the protagonist of Nagatoro, or for girl failures like Tomoko from like It's Your Guys' Fault That I'm Not Popular. Like, this discussion bothers me a lot, the discussion of strong female characters or strong characters in general, because like it makes it seem like every character needs to be strong in some way, where you can make very compelling characters that are like absolutely absolute failures, you know?
Hmm. Yes, I get what you mean.
So what do you think?
Hmm. Well, personally, I think we definitely need more girl failures, but also we need,
Mhm.
in general, more characters that are allowed to have moments of vulnerability. Like, for example, Miyaka Yuki in Fushigi Yugi.
Mhm.
Hmm? Characters who, on the face of hardship, they
Crumble.
they crumble. They cannot they are they cannot do everything by themselves. They need the help and support from others.
Mhm.
But not necessarily. But characters that are weak in a sense, but not entirely useless.
Mhm.
Hmm?
What?
I don't know about you guys, but Shinji
Mhm.
felt felt very unrelatable at times because
Mhm.
he was so much of a wimp that I don't know, I couldn't feel any sort of
Mhm.
empathy. I kept telling myself that if I was in his place, I would face the same difficulties
Mhm.
and probably even worse, but I will not break down and like a crybaby the way he does. I will I will at the very least try to keep pushing forward because
Mhm.
that kind of people in the they tend to be more of a liability for everyone around
Mm-hmm.
around them, and I feel that they don't offer much.
Okay. Are you done, or do you still have something to?
No, no, I am done for at least for now.
Okay. I have to say that hurts my feelings because I find Shinji deeply relatable.
Hmm, well, different strokes for different people.
And like in general, other characters too, like other characters that are complete failures. For example, yeah, the protagonist of Chaos Head, Takumi, that visual novel that we're playing right now. Like, yeah, I do get frustrated with him, so I do understand, but like the story is still compelling despite how the story is actually more compelling when he is being like the worst person ever, you know. And stories like Tsukihime, for example, I can understand like dropping something because you feel like the protagonist is a bit too much of a failure. I did with Tsukihime, but clearly a lot of people like Tsukihime, so there's clearly a space for characters, even as disgustingly incompetent as like Shikitono, you know? So I do
Hmm.
think that we should step away from this conversation of strong characters and just like acknowledge that there's value in the weak characters and like encourage more creativity like that. You know, that is my point.
Hmm. Yes, I understand. I definitely understand what you mean. Hmm.
Do you have anything else to add, Kodokunasu?
No.
Okay. And Ludity?
I was thinking it was probably just like a oversaturation of the market sort of issue,
Hmm.
where it's like, you know, everyone's pining for recognition by making their characters all have something unique about them. So it's like you go into a show or manga or whatever, and it's like a weak, frail little girl who seems like very sweet and innocent, and then during a scene she just like hip tosses a fucking mech or something. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, well, there's something special about her. She wasn't exactly what I thought she was.
Hmm.
So I think it's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, but that can also be lead to the opposite problem where like if I see like a woman in like superhero movie or show of any kind, I just assume yeah, she can probably kick ass just as much as the guy even with no powers and no training. And like that creates another issue of oversaturation. Like if every female character is this like girl boss badass, then it becomes boring in its own way. Like I've actually come to appreciate that there was a story, I don't even remember like the name of the anime, but there was an anime where like I thought that the girl was going to end up being a super badass and that she was going to actually steal the show, especially because it was made by Netflix. And no, she was just a damsel in distress. And the fact that she was a fucking damsel in distress, that was what made me like, oh my god, they actually did that. So I do get your point, but if you take it too far, it can create the opposite problem. Definitely.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
just made me think of like a good
Mhm.
example to me would have been like Gunslinger Girl with with Henrietta. Like, because those characters, I think, if I remember the anime correctly,
Mhm.
but I think those were well written characters with a lot of like pulls in different directions. Because you see the first few episodes where she's blasting terrorists with her P90, and then she's struggling with the whole twist plot of the show later. I thought it was really good. It was a good character.
I unfortunately will not be able to add much to that because the only thing I know about Gunslinger Girl are all those like big booty gifs that people keep putting on videos. But anyway, let's go to the comments. That there's a lot of them again. that we need to address, and we'll end stream for now. If you want to leave early too, I know that you need to be out of here in a couple of minutes in Ludity. Also, feel free, okay?
I got you. I'm here for probably like another 10 minutes, probably.
Okay, perfect. Anyway, let's go here. Okay. How did we get away from why do people want to escape reality anyway? Because we started talking about other topics. Like, conversations go that way, unfortunately. It's like, uh, it's how human conversations work.
Yeah, this is a podcast where we sometimes talk about the topic in the title.
Yeah, okay.
In the previous podcast, you started talk about what Moes and ended at Eldritch Gods.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
Indeed, those are the best conversations, in my opinion. Anyways, let's see. Everyone go read or watch Watanare. Okay.
Oh
I
yeah,
will take
that was already recommended to me. Apparently, it's a really good Yuri anime. I'll be checking it out whenever I have time. One of these days, you know.
Yeah, I understand. I will probably do the same when I am done with what I am currently watching. Currently,
Mm.
I am going through Kamen Rider Force, and I am enjoying it very much.
Okay. Try to. Okay. Okay. To address to a Fish's comments, I think like I get Muvelea's point, but again, there's a thing of overcorrection because we see that a lot happen a lot in media. Because, for example, there was a genuine issue of every woman needs to be like a healer or like a damsel in distress. That is a problem. I'm not saying it isn't, but when you but what you should do in that case is, so let's make it so that women are damsels in distress and healers, but that men can be in these positions too, and that women can be also be like fighters or like in positions of leadership. That's how you solve that problem. Unfortunately, what a lot of media does is like, okay, so there is this problem, so women absolutely cannot be portrayed as healers or support or damsels or any kind of thing like that. And that in there lies the issue. Like creating the opposite issue is not a solution. You actually have to arrive at a solution, you know?
I know one male healer.
Motherfucker, no, not like that. No, no.
Okay, core memory unlocked.
God damn it.
Oh,
This round or this round?
yeah.
Okay, okay, I really need to start. It makes the string a bit more quiet. That's why I generally like to address comments like more how do I say this? More individually. But yeah, I think I will need to in the future start addressing them more like in sweeping terms like this, because if not, my strings will just start stretching into infinite. So yeah, this is definitely a practice I should start making more often. But yeah, I think it's more of a difference of like philosophies, like Sun said. because I can understand Mouvele's point that you can absolutely criticize something for what it doesn't have. Like, for example, they were saying that they saw a lot of anime which would have benefited from, like, uh, what they say, from a more physically stronger, like, fighter type woman. Yeah, and yeah, I agree with that. But, and I even saw that in the opposite way, like too. Like there was a story that the girl was written to be like a fighter, like beyond reason. Like she was definitely she was literally like tied down by by the villains, and there were guns pointed at her, and like she's just a human, she doesn't have any special powers or things like that. So by all intents and purposes, like that character, like like should have been portrayed as a damsel in distress, someone who like needs to be saved, not necessarily by a male protagonist, but by someone, right? And they absolutely did not do that. They refused to go with that like trope, no matter what, and it harmed the story. So yeah, I can definitely understand there being like you being able to criticize something because it doesn't have something like that, it could have benefited from something that's not there being there. So yeah, I can definitely understand, but like I said, it's a matter of you actually addressing the problem, and not just creating another problem. That's, I think, my thoughts on the matter. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so there isn't anything more to address there. People are more talking to themselves, having their own discussion, and I think they're coming to a healthy conclusion and healthy disagreements. But I don't have anything to add to that, so yeah, I think it's a good time to like. Oh, I'm going to say something actually before we end stream that is going to piss Muvale off. I actually believe that like remakes are a sin that shouldn't exist. Like, and I'm talking about every remake, like the Resident Evil 2 remake, like the recent Silent Hill remakes. What was that? Like the Dead Rising remakes. Remakes are a cancer in the game industry that needs to go away, like in general. So
Yeah,
yeah,
or like the upcoming God of War original trilogy remake.
yeah, fuck off. Like no
Yeah.
remakes. No, 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 no. Fucking
Yes.
remakes are cancer and they need to stop. So yeah, that's where we're
Yes.
ending stream here.
Yes. No reason to make remakes. Oh,
Oh, and
by the way,
apparently,
you failed. Movilea also doesn't like remakes.
damn. Maybe next time I can piss them off. But yeah, for now, for now we're ending things for today. This was a productive discussion. Kind of went off the rails there, but like that's normal. As long as we can get it back on track, like it's not a problem.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, for
Oh,
now, thank you all for participating. Thank you all for watching, and bye.
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 This has been the Obscure Podcast, and if fate wills it, we'll meet again.
And now you were able to like actually say your line.
Yep.